up next we have the women's fours varsity boat race at, that will be around 11 o'clock. Okay, it looks like the crews are locked on early here, so we're going to have a slightly earlier start than 11. This is the Princeton open weight women versus the Michigan open weight women varsity fours. Princeton in lane 1, donning the traditional black and orange unis, and Michigan in lane 2 in blue and yellow with white hats. Crews are getting aligned here. Great day for racing, very quiet down the course. A little bit of a headwind, really nothing too bad. Last race of the season on their home course for Princeton, for their seniors' last race ever. So, a lot at stake here. Princeton and Michigan, very similar times, similar rankings. We have alignment for the crews. Michigan with a hand up, just adjusting the point. Very important with this headwind. You get a straight point on that start, so you don't have to adjust while the crews are taking their starting strokes. The official is pulling the crew, and we have a start. Both crews out cleanly. Looks like Michigan gets their first few strokes pretty strong. They have about a seat on Princeton here as they come into the high strokes. Maintaining that seat lead, Princeton on these high strokes, 100 down, almost dead level. We have Michigan by half a bow deck, maybe a little bit less. Michigan crew striking 34, Princeton a little lower at 37. The Michigan third varsity boat sitting just off the course, chanting, "Let's go blue." It's going to be a close race. Both teams are going to need all the encouragement they can get as they come through the 250 at a time of 54, dead level. So that would put them at a 148 first 250. Princeton now making a press. Almost 2 seats now. That was a big move from Princeton. Yep. And Princeton continuing to sit up, rowing very well, striking about 34.5. Michigan crew striking 33.5, so a little bit lower. The wind is picked up here now as we've come through that first 250, approaching the first 500. Princeton about 3 to 4 seats up now on this Michigan crew as they come to the line of the 500-meter mark. Time of 150. The Michigan crew 152.5. So only about a second and a half between these two crews in this first 500. Both striking about a 34 on the rate. Princeton sitting up just a little bit more around that front end. The Michigan crew having a bucket rig, putting both of their 2 and 3 seat on starboard side. Usually you do that if the ports are a little weaker than the starboards, giving the starboards, putting them through, so that boat, the 4, has a tendency, if one strong side, especially the starboard side, is too strong, it'll list to one side. So with that bucket rig, hoping to gain a little bit of stability, a little bit of extra speed. But as they come through the 750, Princeton still maintaining about 3 or 4 seats up on this Michigan crew, but they have not broken water yet. It is still going to be a race as we approach the 1,000-meter mark. Princeton now taking a move and Michigan responding. Both crews popping the rate up a good 2 beats. Princeton striking about 34.5, 35. Michigan still, 34. Michigan coxswain calling for a little bit more rate from her crew, but Princeton continues to move here. Michigan with their bow ball on the Princeton stern deck as Princeton continues to push away here. Coming into the 1,000. Princeton coming through with a time of 3:45. Michigan right behind them with 3:48. So 2.5 seconds down off this Princeton crew. They've almost got their full length. They're making a move here. Michigan has responded. Both these boats calling 10s at very similar places. Yep, Princeton now just breaking open. Looks like the Michigan stern pair still fighting. Getting those blades in aggressively, but Princeton still looking long. Good rhythm from their stroke seat. Yep, still almost about a seat now of open as they come through the 7:50 to go. Yep. Oh, Princeton pushing out now. Michigan trying to make a move, but not effective enough to hold this Princeton base pace. Almost 3 seats of open now. The leading Princeton crew in lane 1 in this Varsity 4 race for the open whipping. Princeton versus Michigan. Coming up on that last 500. Princeton still pushing their lead. This is tough for the Michigan crew. Always being down in a crew race, it's always tough to come back because you can't see where that lead boat is out of your peripheral vision. It's tough to chase down a crew that you can't see. Princeton having the advantage, sitting up as they come through the last 500-meter mark at a time of 5:42. Michigan trailing with a time 5:48. So almost 6 seconds now that this Princeton crew is leading, and they are pushing in this last 500. They are going to continue to press. Princeton crew still stroking a 34 here. Michigan taking a move, chunking away a little bit at that Princeton lead, but they're going to need to make up a lot of ground in this last 250 if they're going to edge Princeton out of this one. Michigan coxswain calling for a big move from the Michigan crew, and it seems to be that they're pushing up a little bit on the Princeton crew, but now the Princeton crew has responded. The Princeton 4 bringing their rate up at a 35, 36 now. Trying to hold off this Michigan sprint. They still have open water on the Michigan crew. Yep, they're really pulling it through now. In this last 100, Princeton still leading the Michigan boat by a few seats open. And Princeton will take the race with a unofficial time of 7:42. And Michigan finishing with an unofficial time of 7:46.8.